How did he come into custody?
Your Honor, I was in Detroit.
Okay. How'd you get into custody? Did you walk in or were you picked up?
I was picked up in Detroit.
Mr. Allen.
A case out there.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, at this time, the people will be requesting the defense bond be modified to the original 100,000 cash surety passed at arraignment. This defendant failed to appear in 2023 for this case and exam and offered witness. He was also out on probation for ad stock and picked up 2 felony charges, I believe. And I believe in this case, he was released on May 7th, and it showed on, actually still has a warrant for a BOP, other non-support warrants. And the people believe that in this case, the bond would be appropriate at 100,000 given the serious nature and concern for the victim's safety. In this case, the victim and defendant come in, the defendant was at the residence with their daughter. The victim picked her up, the argument began. While they were arguing, the defendant pulled a gun from his waist, cocked the gun as if to load around, pointed it at the victim and also at their car that their child was in. The victim was in fear for her life and he struck her with the gun 3 times and then fled. When the officers talked to the victim, she had noticeable swelling above her left temple, cut above her ear, and blood on her shirt. People were also concerned given the defendant's past history of assaultive and domestic violence charges, as well as dismissed domestic violence charges. So maybe asking the bond set at 100,000.
Response. How did he come into custody?
Your Honor, I was in Detroit.
Okay. How'd you get into custody? Did you walk in or were you picked up?
I was picked up in Detroit.
Mr. Allen.
A case out there. And then a marijuana case, I came out here, I got discharged off of conviction. I had to stay and wash my conscience for several years. So when it's came in,
he was picked up originally, but I think that this second attempt at bond increase, the second bite at the apple, he was released. He's coming to court today. He's ready to.
But hold it. While he was out, basically absconding on this case, my understanding is he picked up other cases?
That's the people's understanding. While he was on probation for aggravated stalking, the judge slaves court.
Those are support cases, is that correct? Yeah.
Or it might be on 14. But our notes had that he had a BOP hearing on 5/2, the judge said.
The initial was a failure to appear when we were before the thing. I did that arraignment for him. And there were 2 months of time where he was in the hospital, if I recall, and he suffered some burns as the court made clear.
Hold on a second. Because back, just looking for a date on this, I don't know that he the defendant just didn't come into court. He was incarcerated in Wayne County, January of this year. And then proceeded to send us information for a plea by mail. Requesting a trial date, review of bond with a request for dismissal due to the hearsay clause, and Washtenaw County has no jurisdiction over me because he's a permanent resident of Wayne County.
If I may At the arraignment,
Yeah, go ahead.
at the arraignment, we were going back and forth, our magistrate Pink and I, and she said, I won't quote her exactly, but the summary of it was, let him out on bond because some of it was confusion. He should be holding himself to the same standard as an attorney, but this was kind of an attempt at self-representation. And so as you can see, he's here now with an attorney. He's coming into court to address these charges, to address everything that's happening. He's not a flight risk judge. He's here now, so I would say that
He's not a flight risk? Where was he?
he was in the hospital for 2 months, Your Honor.
When?
The court date in question, I remember it was April 4th, and he was in the hospital at that time.
Now, your assistant prosecuting attorney, Morgan Barroso, and I have the people looking back at our notes. What we see is that this is a 2022 case. He was set for exam pro se on March 7th.
7.
The victim was present, willing, and cooperative. The defendant appeared on Zoom. The court, they tried to proceed with the exam at that date, but the defendant had insurmountable technical difficulties, so it was adjourned out to April 4th. And on April 4th, the defendant didn't show up.
Did not
Show up. He failed to appear, and he was put in bench warrant status. After that, on the 11th of April 11th of 2024, over a year later, he's in custody in Wayne County and mails in the misdemeanor plea by mail to the court.
correct.
So he's in bench warrant status for over a year. And obviously there's something else, other context with law enforcement going on because he's in custody in Wayne County during that time while in bench warrant status. I'm sympathetic to him being in the hospital for a couple of months in there, but that doesn't explain the other 10 months plus where he was in bench warrant status and failed to turn himself in. At this point, I think that there's an issue with his bond being where it is and with him being out of custody, at least without having a GPS.
Well, but he didn't appear for a preliminary examination.
Correct.
This lawyer informed me that I have a case in Washington County for a different reason. So at that same time, my lawyer told me to call down here, get on video camera. I was doing everything on video camera from the hospital. I saw you one time on the camera. So
It wasn't my preliminary examination.
yes, examination because I was in the hospital, so technical reason it was
No. So then, after you missed the preliminary examination, what took you so long to turn yourself in? Well, you didn't turn yourself in. You got picked up.
It's like Magistrate Garwood says all the time. I tell this to my clients. I said, look, if your cell phone bill goes out, if cable goes out, you're going to pick up the phone, you're going to call that and get that resolved immediately. And
I don't know if quoting Magistrate Garwood is convincing to me.
but what I'm saying is, Your Honor, I explained this to him. He wasn't represented before. He didn't understand. He tried to represent himself.
Oh, I think he understood. He understood the date. He's giving me his excuse that he's in the hospital, and then we don't see him for 10 months. And I don't know why a bond was set when we finally get to him in the amount that it's set at. In my opinion, that's a clear abuse of discretion. He didn't appear for 2 court proceedings. Well, appeared at 1. He wasn't, I don't think, supposed to be appearing via Zoom. I think Judge Perry did the best she could and then couldn't proceed with that. And then he was supposed to appear, didn't appear, and then disappears. And I think has committed other offenses, because what was he locked up in Wayne County for?
it was a obstruction of justice, and I took care of that case. I came back here, I got dismissed off probation. Judge bear with me because I lost my lyrics, I lost my whole day. So I had to get my body together. And then I'll promise her, I'll come back and take care of this because I need to do this. I lost my whole neck, as you can see. So, how we can talk.
I understand that. I'm glad it's worked for you. All I'm saying is you haven't appeared at these proceedings. You didn't turn yourself in. You got picked up. And that's the only reason that you're here. Otherwise, we would probably not be seeing you. As I've said, I think it's an abuse of discretion that this bond was set as it was. Your bond now will be $50,000 cash surety, defendant's remanded.
Thank you.